fans, welcome back to the F1 Masters podcast brought to you by AUBG Daily. As usual, you're with myself, Kari, and Vasco. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing the championship battle that is going on in Formula 1 with only a few rounds to go. And apologies for the last few episodes we've missed. We've had some technical difficulties, but we are back.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So 4 rounds to go, and we have a very heated championship battle. Lando Norris currently first, 1 point ahead of Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen is 36 points behind the top as well. So 3-way title fight going into the last 4 races. Still all to play for, in my opinion. We can start off with the last few races and what's been going on, and McLaren's seeming poor run of form. Although Lando Norris did bounce back with the key win in Mexico, their pace is no longer that dominant as it was at the start of the season.
They're no longer the most dominant team, but actually what we saw in Mexico was a pretty dominant display, especially from Lando. And I'm wondering, and I've been wondering for the past month probably, where is Oscar's pace? What happened? Like, Is it the car or is it him? Does he crumble under pressure? I'm really wondering. And for Red Bull and Verstappen, I think that Verstappen, he has the potential, but I'm not sure that if that change in pace and in whole dynamic in the team happened like 2-3 races earlier, I think that Max would have had much better chance. But right now, I think that, at least as it looks like, that Lando can run away with it. Especially if he has a really good race in Brazil, then that can be like a very, very big deal for him to seal the championship.
I don't think that Lando can seal the championship.
No, like seal the championship in a manner that, okay, he wins 2 races in a row. He's leading in the point, and if we see another shaky performance from Oscar, and if he manages to beat Verstappen in the points once again, I think that Lando pretty much with 3 races to go, he just needs to remain calm. And
yeah, but this is still Lando Norris, we have to keep in mind. But he is more experienced than Oscar Piastri, so at least he has been in this situation before to an extent. Even last year it wasn't really a title fight as close as this. But Oscar, yeah, it's so fascinating because in the first 16 rounds, he was only off the podium 2 times, and now he is not finished on the podium 4 races in a row. And this is very concerning. His pace has been nowhere in qualifying and in the race. So I don't really know what's going on, but I still believe that Oscar Piastri, this is a guy that was near perfect the first half of the season. He was incredible and pretty much seemed not unbeatable, but super consistent, super solid, and has the potential to really crush people on his day. So it's very confusing what's going on with him. He is getting some sort of points, but if Lando and Max are fighting for the wins, P4s and P5s will just not cut it.
Yeah, since Baku, it has not been the same Oscar Piastri. Something switched in him after that awful performance in Baku, both in qualifying and in the race, and he is just not on par with Lando Norris. I think the problem is not with the car, I think it's with Oscar. Because we can see that Lando is still there, like as Vasco said, the win in Mexico was dominant, and I don't know, like Oscar has just lost it. I don't know how, but like he's already like second in the championship. I know it's by 1 point, but still, like, this is psychologically, this may make it even worse for him because it's only 4 rounds left, and if he doesn't deliver in the next 2 races, I think it may be really over for him. And for Max, as we see, it's like 36 points gap. I mean, he needs to like get at least 2 wins out of the 4 races, otherwise he doesn't stand a chance for me, because this is not a small points gap. I think, like, I know that there is a 7-point difference between first and second place, but still Max needs to really deliver it.
I think something a bit extraordinary needs to happen in order for Verstappen to win the championship. Something like both McLaren to crash with each other.
It happened in Qatar, so
but during the sprint race, we
Yeah.
just like 8 points or 8 points, but it is not like that. It is not as much as 25 in every case.
Yeah.
And for Max, I think that he's doing whatever he can. Actually, he had a relatively poor weekend in terms of driving. I think in general, like last weekend, because his quali pace was not really the best, and during the race he made a few mistakes, but at the same time he managed to finish third, which is which is pretty good. That is what makes him so good, in my opinion. That even in his relatively poor weekends, he still manages to be on the podium, to grab as many points as possible, and even I think without the virtual safety car in the last two laps, he may have stood some chance to overtake Sharrow.
Well, Max's Mexico driving, in my opinion, was very questionable and deserved some sort of penalty. So he shouldn't have even been up there in the first place. But I digress. We've passed this race now. Um, I think Max still has a good chance. These are tracks that he is. I mean, Sao Paulo, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. He's very good at usually. I expect him to once again be in the fight for the win in all of these races. Vegas as well. Um, the only thing I'm concerned about is if Lando Norris does another performance like this, because I think in qualifying especially, he has the pace to get pole like any given quali session. And if he's starting on pole, I don't see a way that he can really lose this win unless something out of the ordinary happens. I mean, this season he's only lost a race from pole position once, which was at Spa because Oscar Piastri overtook him on the start. Otherwise, I don't think Lando Norris is losing a win if he's starting on pole position. So I think qualifying in these next couple races will be probably the most important thing, and also to keep in mind that Mercedes and Ferrari on their days are getting in the mix now. They have improved, and we saw especially with Ferrari in the last race, they were second and third in qualifying and were in the hunt, and they're taking points off of these drivers that are in the fight for the championship. So it's also going to be important for these guys to outperform Mercedes and Ferrari.
Well, the case with Mercedes and Ferrari is really strange because one week it is looking like Mercedes may have the second fastest car on the grid, and the same goes for Ferrari. Some weekends Charles looks like the fastest driver on the grid even, and at the same time they're going to the next weekend and we see, for example, Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli being out in Q2, and it is the thing that they're super inconsistent, super shaky, and yeah, it is really important for Max, Lando, and Oscar to to be better than them on weekends, but I don't think that they're real threat. Like for podium positions especially, they would have like occasional. We'll see till the end of the season. Occasional podiums from Leclerc and Russell, but I don't think they'll be in the mix for wins till the end of the season. And I have an interesting question for you. If you have to give like a percentage-wise chance to all the three drivers right now on how likely they're to win the title as of now, how would you distribute these percentages?
I mean, as of today, based on form, you have to say Lando Norris is the favorite.
Yeah. I would
But
say
it's like very close. Because Max actually has the best form out of anyone currently, and 36 points for 4 races with 2 sprints. This is absolutely viable. I would actually say that like Lando has the most chance. I even think Max has a better chance than Oscar, just purely based on the form right now.
I'm not sure because 35 points are a lot
This
in,
is
in 4
this
races.
is 8 points per race. This is 8 points or 9 points, sorry. 9 points per race plus 2 sprints. This is absolutely possible to cut down. I mean, in USA, he got the win and the sprint win, which were 33 points total.
But you cannot rely on that
You
that
can't,
both
but there's
McLarens
just
are going to
there are
like crash.
there are more points available than just saying there's 4 races left.
Yeah, for 4 races and 2 sprints, but still there are not a lot of points on the table. And if I have to split it, I think it is going to be something like 50% chance for Lando to win the title and 25% Oscar, 25% Max. Something like that.
I don't know if I can put Lando's that high because it's still like 1 point gap. 1 point gap is nothing. And
But
also,
form wise,
yeah,
this
Yeah.
form wise is there, but
we just
I think Max
don't
can
know
do
what
it.
happens
This
with
is
Oscar.
this is 2007 all over again. Max is just slowly creeping in behind the 2 McLaren drivers, and they can very easily drop points as Oscar. Oscar's been dropping so many points the last few races. 36 points, in my opinion, is not that much at this stage, considering Max was over 100 points down after Zandvoort.
It is 2010 over again, like the Red Bull driver who hasn't led for the whole year, winning it in Abu Dhabi.
Also, we need to discuss the McLaren Inter, like what's happening inside the team, because we saw there is some tension, like between Oscar and Zach Brown. Like if you remember, after I think it was after which race?
Singapore, maybe?
Singapore, yeah, when he like turned off his radio because Zach was like annoying him.
Yeah.
Because after what happened, you know, in the race, like, do you think this will also play a role in the championship fight?
I have a follow-up question. Do we think McLaren is Lando Norris biased?
Yeah, because some fans have really been claiming this, like the last few races, that they're supporting Lando, like they just don't care about Oscar that much because Lando has been for like a longer period of time in the team and they just like him more. I'm not sure this is the case. I think they're like over dramatizing this thing, but still the things happening inside the team are really having an effect, I think, on the drivers, especially on Oscar.
Absolutely agree with you. I think Oscar, psychologically, all these comments from media, from fans, and even at some points the attitude from the team may have damaged like his confidence a bit. But at the same time, I don't think that McLaren are, let's say, at the same situation as Red Bull. Let's say where in Red Bull, we know who is the favorite child. We know who is the guy. And it is very clear in the team that the whole team works for Max Verstappen. Well, I don't think in McLaren it is the same, and that is why I also think that people, fans, everybody has been really overreacting. But at the same time, you like you question at times like the whole decision making process in McLaren, and it is really tricky. And I think that, as I said, that damaged the confidence of Oscar. But at the same time, I don't really think that McLaren are, oh yeah, we're set on zone that Lando has to be the champion, and if Oscar wins, we're like, no. You have to give it to Lando.
Well, let's go back to Monza. Why did they have to swap positions? This is something that, in my opinion, was terribly managed and something that shouldn't have happened. And I don't know why Oscar does not stand his ground and just keep the position. But why are the team even telling him to give this position in the first place? They're getting the same amount of points constructors-wise. And bad pit stops are just part of racing. And I don't see why anyone should have to give a place back because of someone else's mistake.
I still have no answer for that, but there's so many questions that are left unanswered. Let's say the battle. Do you remember a few races ago, like the battle between Ferrari, like between Hamilton and Leclerc,
Austin,
and yeah,
when he needed to make a pit stop and
yeah,
it was just-
and I don't know. They may have been like, oh, we want to avoid that kind of tension in the team. But if you give team orders, once again you like build up some tension in the team. So I don't know like what is the reasoning behind McLaren's decision. But I think they need to manage it better. They need to make sure that both their pilots are like calm, confident, and they're ready to fight for the championship, and they have equal opportunities for that, because imagine at the end of the season, after all the drama, the team orders, and the I don't know if there is tension between Lando and Oscar. We I cannot really say that, but imagine at the end of the season, like if they lose the title to Verstappen, it would feel super Hamilton Alonso-ish.
Yeah, I mean, this would not be the first time McLaren would fumble a championship with two drivers. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but my only concern is, let's say the championship, like Oscar loses the championship with like less than 5 points, and it all came down to what happened in Monza, which, in my opinion, is unjust. And team orders, in my opinion, they should be implemented in specific situations, but when both drivers are fighting for the championship, as we've seen with like Rosberg and Hamilton, team orders is just not a possibility. And if you want to win the championship, from a driver's perspective, you cannot even follow these team orders because. And what will they do to you? You're a championship leader. Like they can't like kick you out of the team for this. At least in my opinion. But yeah, we can also talk about the constructors: Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, very close for second place. Ferrari retook second by 1 point. The gaps are very close. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, it's 10 points between Ferrari and Red Bull.
Yeah, it's every championship is going down to the wire. I mean, this is for second place, but still. Yeah, last time we talked about this, we all said that we think Mercedes is going to get second place. But do we still think that, now that Ferrari has kind of picked up form in the last few races?
I still think that they're running away with it. Like, I think the race in Mexico and the great pace that Ferrari showed was one off.
In USA,
rather
they
than-
also had good pace. They finished third and fourth in the USA as well.
Yeah, but I think it was like it is not going to go like the same way in the rest of the races. I just think that Mercedes have a little bit better car and George is a bit more consistent than both Charles and Lewis, and that is why I think that Mercedes they're going to win with a very, very, very slight margin. But at the end of the season, I think that they're going to be second.
Also, we have to mention that Yuki Tsunoda has actually gotten points in some of the last few races, which is quite unexpected from him. But still, I don't think that he can keep up with the amount of points that Mercedes and Ferrari are getting, even though Max Verstappen is like always around the podium places. I don't think that one man can carry the team to second place in the championship.
It won't be enough, I don't think, what Yuki Tsunoda is doing right now. But I do think Ferrari's pace has gotten better, and I think they're actually faster than Mercedes currently. The only thing is, Mercedes, I feel like Las Vegas, because of how cold it will be during the race, it's just like a guaranteed win for George Russell. I don't see how he doesn't win.
I agree.
So that's, I think, a big factor if Mercedes win Las Vegas, which I think is very likely, whilst Ferrari is not very likely to win a race. But I think Ferrari's two drivers are cumulatively better than Mercedes' drivers. So
Okay.
I have hope.
Important question.
yeah.
Will Hamilton actually get a podium by the end of the season?
That is the exact same thing that I was going to ask right now.
Yeah, so do you guys think he will actually
I don't think he's getting a podium.
I'm not sure. I still have some belief in me, but I'm not sure.
Yes, he's getting a podium.
Okay.
It's 4 races, I know, and he hasn't gotten one yet. But I feel like he has had races where he's shown good pace, like in Mexico, and he gets so unlucky. And I feel like he will have the pace to squeak one podium, one chaos race, you never know. And it's still Lewis Hamilton. I can't imagine him not stepping on the podium. And the Ferrari has looked better, and his pace has improved, quali pace especially. So if he's qualifying good and, coming on to tracks like Brazil, Abu Dhabi, these are tracks he's generally quite good at, I think that he does have a good shot of getting a podium. And he should get at least one podium. He deserves one podium at least from this season.
I agree. We can also discuss the championship fight for P6 in the constructors because it's also really close. As I saw, Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, Haas, and Sauber are like in the space of 12 points,
Yeah.
4 teams, which is incredible. Like, who do you think will be on top, like out of these 4 teams at the end of the season?
I mean, it's always the midfield, especially this year, has been really, really strong, like very competitive. Like 60 points in your ninth place is unheard of. So, yeah, the competition is very high. Haas obviously had the best, most recent result with that Ollie Behrman miracle. Racing Bulls, they have actually gone pointsless in the last 3 races, which I didn't know. It's very close. I'll actually say I think Aston Martin will get 6th place because I don't know. Fernando Alonso, he can do a masterclass or his car will break down. Either one of the two will happen. And Lance Stroll, you never know with Lance Stroll. He can do absolutely nothing and just randomly finish P7.
Yeah, he can just go like a P5 in Brazil. Who
But if
knows?
it rains in Brazil, there's a high chance he retires in the formation laps. So we have to keep this.
But
in
also Lance Stroll is actually good in the rain sometimes. So who knows? He may pull off a masterclass.
He may take pole position and
Yeah.
like after that not finish the race. This would be the most Lance Stroll thing to ever happen.
Also, do you think that Haas actually have a chance after that P4 in Mexico?
I mean, they had great pace, but I feel like they're very track dependent. So, but Ollie Behrman has 3 consecutive points finishes. He's really on form right now.
Yeah. Also, we need to mention Ocon has been nowhere. Like since the summer break, almost like didn't get any points. So I don't know what's happening
Behrman
with
is-
Ocon.
Behrman has absolutely turned it around.
Yeah.
And Sauber, I think they've fallen off. I mean, they were really good in the middle of the season with pace, and
Don't forget that 1/4 of their points came
Yeah.
only with 1 podium. So I think they're definitely going to be 9th.
Yeah. And Alpine are 10th because they have no chance. They haven't gotten points since Belgium, I think. So
yeah.
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 No, Alpine.
Alpine are
Their pace is like.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that they don't score points, they're like dead last, like every.
Yeah, they're
It's like they gave up.
not that they gave up. I think that they just stopped developing the car, and Pierre Gasly's form and confidence really fell off, and that was their only source of points, and now they're nowhere to be seen. I bet on Racing Bulls to still manage to get the points because Hajar has been pretty good throughout the season. Lawson can squeak like 3, 4, 5 points till the end of the season. And with a random, let's say P6, P7 from somebody in a race or in sprint, and I think that would be enough. After that, Haas, and after that, Aston Martin. I believe that Haas they can do it.
Okay, I'll say Haas then, because you said Racing Bulls and Aston Martin. I believe in Haas, and then I think that it will be probably Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, and Sauber after Haas.
Okay, I think we can move to predictions for Brazil, and in general, at the end, we can say who do we think is winning the championship, like before the end of the episode.
Okay, I'll start with Brazil. First off, I'll say that Williams will score double points in both the sprint and in the race. I have belief in this team. I actually saw that they're having a rebranding for next season, which is interesting. And another prediction is that Ferrari will have a podium in either the sprint or the race. This is a pretty safe one. I don't want to say that they will have a podium in the race because I'm not sure. It's Brazil. We never know what's going to happen, so this is a pretty safe one.
Yeah. I love that you say it's a pretty safe one, and watch it just not happen. Watch them finish like 8th and 9th because that's just the Ferrari pace. Yeah. My predictions. Oscar Piastri retakes the championship lead. And I might be thinking 1 point. But he has been very off form, but I think he bounces back. And Lando Norris at Brazil, we know how this ends. He likes to think different, so we'll have to wait and see. And also, Kimi Antonelli, I don't think he'll finish in the points. He's just very inconsistent, and I could very well see him getting eliminated in like Q1 and just not making it into the points. Especially if it's like chaos wet weather race.
Or kamikazing into somebody.
Yeah, true. It's not like he hasn't done that.
Yeah, we've
this
seen
year.
it a few times.
Yeah.
So, for my predictions, I think that I want to see actually if my curse for Ferrari will work on McLaren. That is why I am predicting McLaren 1 to in the race, and the second one exactly 2. safety cars during the race, and we don't count virtual safety cars. We do proper safety car with like 5 cars getting out of the race and like on a really wet track, and after that restarting the whole race and like 7 people finishing. That is like proper
F1 heritage.
Heritage.
Yeah. Sounds great, hopefully.
Yeah, and before the end, as of today, I think Lando Norris is most likely to win the championship.
Statistically, probably yes, but I cannot imagine a world where Lando Norris is the world champion of Formula One. So I will say Oscar Piastri.
I don't like the thought of it either, so.
I also still believe in Oscar Piastri, honestly. I don't think Lando will win it. So.
Can we just say, if Lando Norris wins the championship, is this like top 5 worst F1 champions in history?
Actually, a really good question. I think it's debatable. Yeah.
Wait, for Lando or for Oscar?
For Lando.
For Lando. Because he had like.
I think for both of them, it would be like
Well,
no,
Oscar
not
has-
really the best.
Oscar has a long way to go still in his career, but Lando, he's been in F1 for so long, and just his mindset, and I don't know, I just don't see how this guy can be the representation of an F1 driver.
We would wait and see.
We will.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think this is like the part where we wrap up the episode. So this is all for today from us. We're looking forward to the next episode. Till then, like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And stay tuned for more of our content. Thank you, and remember.
If you no longer go for a gap that exists,
You're no longer a racing driver.